In this video, we are talking about the Feelworld F7 Plus on-camera monitor. So I've been looking for a camera monitor that I can just leave on top of my camera just to check exposure, to make sure that my frame is clean. But all of the monitors that I've been using for the past few years have always lacked one thing, and that is the brightness level. So I've used some monitors from Feelworld, like the F5, the F6. Those were good monitors. They were really reliable, but at the same time, they were not really bright enough to be used outdoors. So enter the Feelworld F7 Plus. So before we begin the review, we're just going to unbox it and check what comes inside. I actually don't have the box anymore, but we are going to check the contents of this bag right here. So as you can see, it comes with a nice case. So it's pretty good because it allows you to always have the monitor protected. So if you unzip this thing right here, it comes with a few things. It comes with the monitor itself. So the monitor itself is pretty nice because you get a very big 7-inch display. So one of the standout features for me in particular is that you have multiple powering options for this monitor right here. So not only are you able to power it with an NPF style battery, but you are also able to power it with a Type-C input, which means you can just use a power bank and run power into this monitor using that way. And at the same time, if you have a V-mount battery or any other powering option that outputs DC 12 volts, you can do it that way. So there's an HDMI in over here. So also if you want to repeat the HDMI signal, you can plug in another HDMI cable and maybe you can plug it into an HDMI transmitter and you can give it to the director or something. So yeah, there's also a headphone monitoring jack. So just in case you want to replay the video and you want to check the audio, you can plug in 3.5mm headphones onto this thing. And there is an SD card jack over here, or an SD card slot that you can use to load LUTs. So if you want to use this to monitor your S-Log3, like how I have been using it with my A7IV, you can use this feature right here. And I like the mounting system here because not only does it have a mounting thread, but it has like some sort of RE locating pins. Like a hole for RE locating pins, so it will not just swivel around when you reposition the monitor. So on the side over here, we have another mounting option, so just in case you want to use this for vertical shooting. And there is a rocker over here, a menu rocker, so you can toggle the system menu with this rocker right here. And there is another mounting thread over here with RE locating pins, and at the same time, a power button. Comes with a few other things. First of which is an NPF style battery. So this is an NP F750 battery. So I like this battery because not only does it have a Type-C input, it allows you to just charge it with any Type-C cable. It also has a button over here that if you press it, it will tell you how much more battery you have left, which is pretty convenient when you're out and about. You don't have to guess how much battery is left inside this battery. So mounting the battery is very easy. You just place it like this and you push it sideways, and you're going to hear a click, and it's really on there. It's not going to go anywhere. And there is a push button over here that if you press it, you can slide the battery out. So I like this because the battery is very secure and it's not just going to pop off while you're shooting. So you get a full-size HDMI to HDMI cable. So like for myself, I'm using the A7IV. So I don't need to use an adapter. I can just plug in directly to my Sony A7IV and I can use the monitor this way. But for cameras which have a micro HDMI connection, you are already supplied with that one as well. So I like how Feelworld has included all the accessories that you need to just start using it right away. So if you're using a Sony a6400 or a Sony a7C, which has micro HDMI connections, you can use this. And finally, one more thing that is included is a monitor mount. So for the longest time, the monitor mounts that were included with Feelworld monitors were not really that good. I would usually buy a third-party one from SmallRig, but this time they have finally perfected the free monitor mount with their monitors. So the way this attaches, like what I said, is at the bottom, if I'm using it horizontally. So as you can see, there is a rubber gasket here, which means it won't slip on you while it is attached to the monitor. So it mounts onto the monitor like that. You just secure it. And the good thing is, like what I said, there's a rubber gasket over there. So it's going to prevent any swiveling on the mount itself. So all the swiveling will only be happening on the monitor arm. You just unscrew this part and align it with the hot shoe, and now you tighten this down. And I like it because it's very easy to rotate it because there is a ratchet style knob over here. It allows you to just tighten it all the way. And now the monitor is not going anywhere. Now you have a monitor mounted to your camera, and next step is to get the cable. So I'm going to be using the included HDMI cable. So I'm going to plug it into HDMI in over here. And now I'm going to take the other end, which is this one over here, and I'm going to plug it directly onto my camera. And now all I need to do now is power on my camera and power on my monitor. And now you can see me over there. So it's like a camera inception now. So yeah, this has been a demonstration of how to attach the Feelworld F7 Plus onto your camera. So the first thing that I love about this monitor right here is the 7-inch display. So for some of you, you might think that is overkill to put a big monitor onto your camera because you already have a monitor that is built in, right? But to be honest, it's really very important that you have a bigger viewing experience, because once you are framing your shot, and maybe you're framing a shot for maybe a big company that is a CEO of that company, and you only have a few minutes with that guy, and once you start framing, you don't want to have a small monitor because you're not going to be able to see the small things in your frame. So let's pretend there's a flower pot in the background that you didn't see because you're looking at the scene using the monitor that is built into your camera. Having a big monitor just allows you to really make sure that you're nitpicking every single spot of your frame, and you're making sure that the frame is clean, your framing is right. The second thing that I love about this monitor is the 1200 nits, which means it is a very bright monitor. The monitor that is built into the Sony A7IV is only about 500 to 600 nits. So the brightness of this is double this monitor of the A7IV. So this allows you to just bring your camera outdoors and not worry about the sun overpowering the brightness of the camera monitor. So having an actual on-camera monitor allows you to just full send in daylight and not worry about having an unpleasant viewing experience while you're shooting. You're gonna be able to see how well lit your scene is. You are able to double check exposure. You are able to double check framing because you have a 7-inch monitor that has a high brightness level. So the third thing that I love about this monitor is just the touchscreen. I don't know how to explain this, but I've used a couple of monitors in the past that have touchscreens, but are very unresponsive, slow, and very laggy. It just made my monitor viewing experience a little bit terrible, to be honest. So if I want to adjust the brightness, for example, of this monitor, all I need to do is just do a scroll over here. This allows me to use the brightness level of the monitor. So right now it's at 100%, and this is at around 50%. So most of the time I'm not even using it at 100% because sometimes I shoot indoors more than outdoors. So I'll just leave it at 50%, which matches perfectly with what I'm seeing on my camera monitor. So if you double tap here, you are able to adjust everything that a monitor offers. For example, if you want waveforms, you can do that. You want vector scopes, you want histogram. So right now, my most used feature is actually the histogram because it allows me to double check exposure. So the way I like to use it, so I've been creating a lot of shorts for YouTube recently, and that's considered vertical shooting, right? So sometimes if I forget to frame the shot vertically and I'm stuck horizontally, I'll leave an aspect marker that is a 3x3 grid over here. So even if I do shoot horizontally, I can just make sure that whatever is inside this little rectangle vertically, that whenever I do crop the video for vertical content, like for shorts, I can just have this thing going on. So to switch the grid off is very easy. Just double tap. This will unlock the menu system here. Press marker, go to grids, and press off. So as you can see, the touch screen is very responsive and it's very reliable. There is no stuttering, there is no lag. So the next thing that I love about this monitor is just the multiple powering options. So let's pretend you want a longer runtime. So you're not tethered to only using an NPF style battery over here. You can use a USB Type-C cable. You can just have a very long one, directly power it into a power brick or an outlet, and you can power it infinitely. And also there is a DC input, so if you want to charge it or power it that way, you can do that. And of course, you can run it using the NPF battery, or what I like to do sometimes is I would get a V-mount to NPF style plate, and I would run a V-mount battery on my camera monitors, which allows me to be a little bit more mobile, but at the same time have enough juice to shoot the whole day. So one more thing that I love about this monitor is that there is no learning curve when you're about to just use this monitor. So for some monitors, there might be a little dance with your fingers that you have to do to figure out how to make the monitor work for you. But this one, there's absolutely no learning curve. So if you're a beginner looking for a monitor that you're worried about being very hard to use, this is not going to be the monitor, because this monitor is absolutely dummy proof. Anybody can just buy one and be able to use it on the same day because everything is very intuitive, is very easy to understand, and very easy to use. Okay, so last but not the least, the thing that absolutely drew me towards this monitor is its color accuracy. So we all know this because sometimes if you buy a monitor that is not high-end, like maybe if you didn't have enough money to buy an Adamas Ninja V or an Adamas Shinobi, which both of those monitors are very color accurate monitors, this Feelworld F7 Plus is a very color accurate monitor. Like, I'm not kidding. Whatever I'm seeing on my camera monitor over here is exactly what I am getting onto here. So if I were to point the camera onto the, let's pretend that direction, whatever I am seeing on this little screen over here is exactly what I can see on the Feelworld F7 Plus. And that is a game changer right there because you don't have to worry whether the colors are matching. You can rest assured that the white balance you're seeing on your small little screen is the white balance that is being shown on your camera monitor. And this right here is a very invaluable piece of feature because whenever you're out there shooting, you can rest assured that everything is matching because there are no color shifts, that whatever you set onto your main monitor over here, let's pretend you set a 5500K white balance, that's exactly the white balance you're seeing over here. And you're not setting white balance based on this and will affect the whole image and will destroy the output of your video. So again, I don't know how to stress this enough. This is a very color accurate monitor, which lets you sleep at night knowing that whatever you see here matches the small screen on your A7IV or whatever camera you own. Okay, so there's only one nitpick or one complaint I have for this monitor, but actually it's not the monitor's fault. And that is, it's a little bit too big to be an on-camera monitor because if you look at it, it's a little bit jumbo, but at the same time, I don't mind because most of the time if I'm using a 7-inch monitor, I'll be attaching it onto a light stand. When I'm out shooting maybe a documentary set or an interview, I'll be putting this on a light stand so that whoever I'm shooting with, let's pretend I have an assistant shooter or I have a director over there, I can just leave this on the light stand and then tether it with a very long HDMI cable, or maybe if I had an HDMI transmitter, I can just give it to the director so that he can check the framing and then he can go from there to tell us what's in the frame that he wants or what he doesn't want in the frame. So yeah, this has been a video talking about the Feelworld F7 Plus. This is my current favorite monitor. Everything about it just makes me sleep better at night, knowing that I have a very reliable monitor that I can bring with me whenever I'm out shooting documentaries or interviews. And yeah, everything about it is just amazing, especially the color accuracy with the camera that I'm using. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like, leave a comment, or please subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.